Hi guys, the sun is shining outside, but I'm sitting behind my desk. This will be worth it because today I will show you how I created a custom column to track non-meta click leads. Right here in Ads Manager, I have some lead campaigns and the first column is reporting all leads. So using the attribution settings of Meta, in this case, 1-day view, 7-day click attribution, I've also created a custom metric, a custom column to show the last non-meta click leads. So in this case, I want to track all leads where the last click was on a channel that wasn't Meta's. So it could be TikTok, could be a Google search, Bing search, a LinkedIn link click, any channel that wasn't owned by Meta. Now this is very valuable information, of course, because right now, if I wouldn't have added the custom column, I wouldn't know how many of these 12 or 22 leads actually came from a last click that wasn't Meta's. So in this quick video tutorial, I will show you how I created this custom column using Google Tag Manager and also Events Manager in Meta. Now for this setup to work, I will be leveraging the tracking UTM parameter values. So make sure that each ad within your Meta Ads Manager also has URL parameters in place. So let's say if I would create a Facebook ad, that's called a campaign source Facebook, medium CPC, and you can provide a campaign name. You could also be using the variables for the campaign source or FB or IG or whatever you want. Just make sure that when we will be editing the trigger at the Google Tag Manager side, you will be using the exact values as provided in this interface. So for this example, I will be using campaign source is Facebook. For the purpose of this demo, I've created a demo form on my website and we will be tracking leads, so people who submit the form, and I will be sending this conversion to Meta to report on the conversion lead data. When I submit this form, it will open a confirmation page and I will be using the final URL of this destination page in the trigger to send my event to Meta. To get started, we will navigate to the Google Tag Manager, where we can set up the configuration for this custom metric. We'll navigate to the text interface to set up our conversion tag. We will create a new conversion, so a new meta conversion, and select to edit, and search the gallery for the Facebook pixel. Right here, you can provide your own pixel ID. You can find it in Events Manager at the Meta site. And because we are tracking a successful form submit, I'm selecting the lead standard event. I also want to make sure it only gets processed once. Under the advanced settings, I will select once per page. And also, of course, we need to have some consent to send this data to Meta. So in consent settings, we will need to require additional consent tags to fire this tag. I will be selecting the ad storage and also the analytics storage. Now, if you haven't set up consent mode yet, you will have to check out some solutions like CookieBot because you need to have consent from users to be sending this data to the servers of Meta. Right now, we have created our tag and we also need to create a trigger to send the event to Meta. Because I have created a lead form to track my conversion, I will be using the destination URL of a successfully submitted form. In this case, I'm selecting the page view event, and I will only trigger the tag when the page view page path contains confirmation page. This is the destination URL of my form. So if I will save this configuration, Meta will capture all the leads. So you will have to set up this one first. And next, we will be duplicating the tag to only report on last Meta channel conversions, in this case, leads. Provide a name for your tag. So this tag is sending a Meta all leads. Let's save it. Right now, we have created our first tag, the Meta all leads, and we will again debug to see if it works. So for this, we will need to open Events Manager in Meta And we will also be using the Google Tag Manager interface to see if it successfully tracks form submits. So let's navigate to Meta Events Manager and open our test events interface. Right here, I'm at my test form on my website. And when I navigate back to the Events Manager within Meta, I can see the page view. And this is the page that has my form. And also in the Google Tag Manager debug interface, I can now see the page of the test form. Now let's head back to the page on my website and let's submit the form. So it opens up my confirmation page and we use this in the trigger. So right now, Meta should capture the lead. So let's take a look at Events Manager in Meta right now. Okay, and right here I can see Meta captured the lead from the confirmation page. So right now we have set up a configuration that will track all leads. And right now we will start creating the custom metric that will only capture the leads that came from a channel, a last click channel that was different from Meta's. Now in Google Tag Manager, scroll down to the variables and create a new custom variable. And right here I will be using the URL. And I will be extracting the UTM source from the URL. So it will be a query. And the key in this case is UTM source. And let's call it UTM source and save. Let's debug the variable to see if the UTM source is being logged when previewing our website. And for the purpose of this example, I will be manually adding the UTM source Facebook just to make sure that the UTM source is being logged. Now, of course, when people click on your ad and you have set up the UTM parameters at the ad level, then the UTM source will always be there. So this is just being added manually just for testing purposes. So let's open the website. It opened the test form page. Now, when I navigate back to the Tag Assistant debug interface, I can see I'm at the test form page. And when I check the variables on this page, I can see that the UTM source is Facebook. So that's great. Now, the problem right here is that when I submit the form, so let's fill out the form, and I hit submit, it will open a new page, the confirmation page. So right here, it's the confirmation page, but the UTM source is undefined. In this case, I've lost the UTM source, but I need it. So I need to find a way to keep the UTM source, the original UTM source. In this case, I need to create a script that will keep the original UTM source so I can leverage the data and use it in the trigger to capture only the last non-meta click conversion. Let's head back to the variables and create a new user-defined variable. Click to edit and select the custom JavaScript. Right here, we need to paste our JavaScript, and I will put the full code in my article and below this video. I have named my variable UTM_source. If you are using a different naming convention, be sure to also change the variable name in this code. Give it a name and let's name it original source. Hit save. We have now created a custom user-defined variable that will keep the UTM source. So let's debug and preview if it works. I will again open the test form on my website. When I go look at the GTM debug interface, I can see I'm at the test form page again. And when I check the variables, I can see UTM source contains Facebook. And right now, remember the last time we checked and we entered the confirmation page, the UTM source was gone, but we created an original source variable. It also contains Facebook right now. And let's see if we can keep this value if we enter the confirmation page of the form. So let's fill out the form. The form has been submitted. Let's check the Google Tag Manager debug interface for the confirmation page. Check the variables of the page. And right here, you can see that the original source still mentions Facebook, while the UTM source, the original, has been undefined. So right now, we have something to work with when creating our trigger for sending our non-meta click leads conversion, and we will be leveraging the original source variable in our trigger. So right now, we know that if the value is different from our Facebook ad, it will be another channel. So we will be creating a trigger that will exclude all the variable names of Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, all the Meta-owned channels. So right now we have set up a configuration that will track all leads. And right now we will start creating the custom metric that will only capture the leads that came from a channel, a last click channel that was different from Meta's. So for this, we have to navigate back to the Google Tag Manager interface and change the triggers of our lead tag. This is our all lead capture stack. Select it and make sure to copy the tag. Let's rename it and let's call it all non-meta leads. So the all non-meta last click leads. So instead of using the standard events, we will now be creating a custom event, so a custom metric, and let's call it leads non-meta. So the lead non-meta, all the other settings, you can just keep it as is. Right here, we need to change the trigger because else it would still capture all conversions and we would only like to track non-meta conversions. So in this case, I will also make a copy of the trigger form completion. Copy the trigger. And I will call it non-meta form completion. We can keep the page path because we need to filter on the confirmation page URL, but we need to add a secondary condition. And we will be using the original source. Now, if we want to capture the non-meta channels, we will need to be excluding all the values of Facebook, Instagram, etc. So original source does not match the regular expression Facebook or Instagram or IG or FB, and make sure that all the different values you're using in the UTM source parameters, make sure they are all added to this value list. Now hit save. And let's change the trigger. We don't want the form completions. We want the non-meta form completions. So right now we have two tags that are being sent to Meta. The first one is the all leads tag, and it will capture all the leads. So this was our first column. And the secondary, the custom column, will capture all non-Meta last click leads. When form completions happen where the UTM source does not contain Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, all the Meta-owned channels. So if you would also like to add Messenger, for instance, you can just add Messenger and save. Okay, so now comes the fun part. We can start testing and see if our setup works. Open the test events interface again, and I will also open my test form page from within the debug of Tag Manager. Right here, I'm manually entering the UTM source as if someone would click on my Facebook ad and enter my website. So in this case, it contains UTM source Facebook. So Meta should log the all leads, but it shouldn't log the non-Meta leads. So let's see if that works. I will open the website. Okay, I'm on this page. Let's check Events Manager in the meta interface. And I can see I've entered this page and it's just a page view. So now let's submit the form. Check back in test events and you can see it processed a lead. But it just processed the lead because it's a Facebook attributed lead. The last click was Facebook source. Now let's see what happens if there isn't a Facebook source or the source is different from Facebook. So these are two examples we will be testing. Head back to Google Tag Manager, hit preview again. And the first test is to see if it will log a non-meta click if there isn't a UTM source attached. So I will remove the UTM source, Facebook, and open the test form. Okay, great. Let's navigate back to the Events Manager interface. It's still the page view. I will have to submit the form. And as you can see, it now generated a lead event and a lead non-meta event. So both, of course, because this will capture all, so it needs to include also the non-meta leads, but also the lead non-meta separately. Now for the other test, let's see what happens if we change the UTM source value to a different value than Facebook. Let's say UTM source is TikTok. Okay, it opened my website. Check in Events Manager. There's a page view with the UTM source TikTok. Fill out the form. When using the URL UTM source TikTok, which is different from Facebook, it also generated a lead non-meta custom event. And of course, they all capture lead event. This confirms our setup works because it will capture a lead non-meta event in the cases where UTM source is different from the Facebook channels or when it is missing. Now we need to tweak our trigger a little bit further because I only want to send non-meta leads when I know for sure there's a different channel in place. Okay, so right here, I'm in Google Tag Manager in my account for my website. And the first thing we will need to create is a variable. So click Variables, scroll down below to the user-defined variables. Now click New, and the first thing we will need to create is a referrer variable. So hit the referrer, and instead of the default full URL, I like to use the host name. And this will only show the domain name, so that's great. Now give it a name. I'll call it var referrer, and hit save to continue. Right now we have added a variable referrer, so it will show up when we debug our configuration. So let's see what happens. If I preview my website, right here, I can check the variables that are being set on the page. And when I scroll down, it will show right here the var referrer. In this case, it's tagassistant.google.com because I'm previewing from the Google Tag Manager interface. Now let's see what happens if I navigate to another page on my website. I will click on this article. Let's head back to the Google Tag Manager debug interface. So this is the page I'm on right now. And let's see the variable. So right now, as you can see, the var referrer changed from the tagassistant.google.com to bramsocial.com. Of course, this isn't what I want because I will be using this referrer data to keep track on conversions that happened during the same session with the original referrer. So in this case, that would be the tagassistant.google.com and not bramsocial.com. So we will need to create a script that keeps the original referrer data. It's actually really easy because we can just copy paste the original source script. So open the original source script, copy the script and rename it to original referrer. Now also make sure to change the UTM source variable to the referrer variable and also change the key name like this. Okay, and then save your variable. Right now we have created two user-defined variables, the original referrer and the referrer variable. Let's open the leads tags. And right here we can add object properties. And we will send along the referrer. And for this one, we will be looking at the original referrer. Let's save the tag and do the same for the non-meta leads tag. So again, under object properties, referrer, and select the original referrer variable. Hit save. Now let's see how we can check this in Events Manager when we are coming from Google, for example. So I will make sure to first submit my changes. Let's open up Events Manager again, and now I will go to Google to enter my website. I will search for Bram Social. Right here, this is my website. I will click it. And now when I head back to the Events Manager interface, I can see I'm at a home page and I was coming from Google. And right now I will open up my test form to see if it tracks the Google referrer. So I click to my test form, and if you check Events Manager, there's a second page from the test form. I will now submit the form. And right here is the lead and the non-meta lead event. Let's open up the lead non-meta event. And right here, you can see that the original referrer was Google. So it keeps the referrer because of our JavaScript. And right now we can use it in all the triggers. And if you would like to, you could also go create a custom conversion where the leads contains refer Google. So you can create custom columns in the Meta Ads reporting interface to get all the leads, all the non-meta leads, and all the Bing leads, all the Google leads. So you have a really good view on how many events were actually triggered by a last non-meta click. So of course, this is really interesting because if you're seeing 5 leads, and now you get to see that from the 5 leads, for example, 2 leads actually came from Google and converted. This way, you can really see the attribution of how Meta's attribution is different from the Google Analytics attribution, for example. And you really get more insights on how Meta is contributing to all the events being logged in the reporting. It may happen that UTM parameters are getting lost or there are blank referrers. In that case, we don't know if it was a meta channel or not. So we will now adapt our trigger to make sure we only send non-meta leads when we really know for sure there was a different channel in place. Let's navigate back to the Google Tag Manager for the final configuration. Now you can add a third condition where the original referrer may not be empty. So does not match beginning of string, end of string, so blank. And if you also want to exclude direct traffic, you can also exclude your own website domain. In cases due to privacy, sometimes the referrer gets lost or UTM parameters are being removed. And whenever we don't know for sure that it was a non-meta channel, I don't want to send this non-meta conversion. So I'm also adding an additional one where the original referrer um, does not match or does not contain my domain name. So in this case, I know I'm only sending a non-meta form completion when the original source isn't one of Meta's and when the original referrer isn't my own website or the referrer is empty. Now, to make it easy to report on all leads versus non-meta last click leads, you will need to create some custom conversions. Be sure to also verify the custom events. So check the overview tabs and locate your custom event and make sure to manage the status and confirm the custom event. This way you will be able to use it in custom conversions. So you really need to verify it because else it won't work. So head to the custom conversions interface and create custom conversions to report on all leads and a custom conversion to report on the non-meta click lead. Right here, instead of URL traffic, you can select the lead. And you can just provide a slash to capture all the traffic where the lead is being generated. Let's call this one all leads. And now do the same for the non-meta click lead. Create a second custom conversion. And right here, we are going to select a lead non-meta. And let's call it last non-meta click lead. Right here, type in a slash and hit to create the custom conversion. Now we will need to add these two custom conversions to our meta reporting interface. Navigate to Ads Manager and select to edit the columns. Right here, when I click the custom conversions, I can find the last non-meta click leads and all leads. Add these columns to your reporting interface, and you will now be able to report on all leads versus last non-meta click leads. All right, so that's it. This was a more advanced tutorial, but I hope you find value in it. And I really hope you create a custom metric because it's really interesting. Because now you can really measure the count of events that actually directly came from a different channel. That doesn't mean that Meta is reporting false event counts. It just means that they are using different attribution settings. So this one is by default reporting on a 1-day view and 7-day clicks attribution setting. However, if you also report on the last non-meta click, you can really get a good insights on how many times the leads came from different channels. So maybe a person saw your Facebook ad today and clicked on it, but didn't convert. 3 days later, they went back to Google and they converted. If you look at Google Analytics, they will probably report that conversion to Google, while Facebook Meta will allocate it to the 1-day view, 7-day click attribution because the conversion happened within 7 days. So right now you can see when it happened within the default attribution setting of Meta, but you also get to see how many of those conversions were actually generated by a non-Meta ad channel. You also get to see the number of events that happened after a non-Meta channel click. So Bing, Google can be any channel. And this will align more with the Google Analytics data. And if you check the difference between the all leads and the last non-meta click leads, and there's a difference of 5, for example, it will be more aligned with the 5 event count that Google Analytics will report for the meta traffic. Okay, guys, I hope you liked it. I'm sweating because it's really hot outside. So if you liked it, I hope to see you again for another video on my channel and see you at LinkedIn too. Bye bye.